celebrate.
And then they say, is Donald Trump an intellectual? Trust me, I'm like a smart person. Yosemite's one of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water.
Mike Lindell's a conspiracy.
But you haven't. Person, woman, man, camera, TV. They said nobody gets it in order. It's actually not that easy, but for me it was easy.
Amazing.
He can't sit down. He's got a burning in his butthole. He's got a fire. He's got a flame coming out of his butthole.
Big, massive dumps.
Oh, I have a term for that. I call it corporate communism.
Somebody sent me a thing this morning where they're talking about putting the vaccine into salad dressing.
You see, this is a simple meme that you would find on the internet, but this meme is very real.
You ain't seen nothing yet until you see the flaming butthole.
Putting us on our knees to China.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
Woke mob.
Stupid, the wokers.
Waldorf Nation, around the nation. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. TGIF. It's Friday. Good Lord, do we need a Friday. It's a great show, though. Before we start the weekend, it's going to be awesome. So, I got a lot of fun stories here, including anti-woke beer. Oh, the anti-woke beer. You're not going to be surprised that it's a scam. I'm going to tell you how. Okay. I think it should be pretty obvious, but nonetheless, we'll go through that. We also have Puddin Ron. Yes, you're familiar with the Ron DeSantis Puddin story. Well, it got even better, even more fun. We're going to have fun today. We have Missouri Republicans, one particular saying, look, hey, I didn't advocate for child brides, and then goes on to advocate for child brides. Republicans, what are you doing? We also have corruption, of course, new details, Clarence Thomas, and another reminder here about how disastrous the Restrict Act is. Of course, a reminder, more details about that, and how it's more than just a TikTok ban. It's probably worse than the Patriot Act. Not good. Not good at all. So, we've got some details here on that I want to share with you all so that, we can fight against this disastrous piece of legislation. With that, the Missouri House Republicans also voted to defund public libraries. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. They don't like knowledge and want kids to be able to marry young. That doesn't sound weirdo Handmaid's Tale cult thing, does it? No, of course not. What are you talking about? They care so much about the children. Of course they do. All right. So, again, there must be a sound effect for that. And pudding fingers? Oh, I don't know if I have anything like that, honestly. It might be, there are definitely sounds. Disgusting, gross, squelching sounds. But I don't have any on hand. Let's just say that. But anyway, we'll get to that. That's actually the best. I think it's my favorite story of the day. And we're going to start out with it. So enjoy. Okay. Before we get to the stories, please like and share the stream. Very important that you do so, of course. Helps us out. Without further ado, let's do it. Oops. A Trump-aligned PAC just put out an ad against Ron DeSantis, and it is both gross and hilarious. Take a look.
Ron DeSantis loves sticking his fingers where they don't belong. And we're not just talking about pudding. DeSantis has his dirty fingers all over senior entitlements, like cutting Medicare, slashing Social Security, even raising our retirement age. Tell Ron DeSantis to keep his pudding fingers off our money. Oh, and somebody get this man a spoon.
Oh, wow. Wow. All right. Now, look, that was put out by Make America Great Again, Inc. That's, again, pro-Trump political action committee. Look, I got to say, that's pretty good. That's a good ad. Now, look, before I get into the analysis here, yes, we're going to do an analysis on this Puddin ad. I love my job. I've got the usual caveats that I want to share with you all. I do not support Trump. I do not support Republicans in general. Donald Trump's proposed budget, for example, in 2020, also would have made significant cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security. So in the analysis of it, of the actual policy positions, while Ron DeSantis also went to cut Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid funding, Trump also tried to do that. So let's be super, super fair and point out actual facts. You know, we care about facts, care about evidence.
Just forget about the evidence.
No. We will talk about how Donald Trump could also not keep putting his hands on so-called entitlements. As well as putting his hands on all sorts of things that he shouldn't. And no, I am not talking about that.
Sexual anarchy.
I'm talking about the Mar-a-Lago documents scandal, of course, putting his hands all over government documents that don't belong to him. As well as many, many other things. But okay, so let's get to the substance first on this, because I think substance is important. Because what the ad is trying to do is to point out, hey, Ron DeSantis, terrible on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, wanted to cut all that stuff, and Trump doesn't. Well, look, Trump said that publicly. Oh, I don't touch Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. But wait, Trump's own budget proposed cuts. Let me give you the details on that. So this is from Vox News. Trump's 2020 budget proposal had aimed to spend $1.5 trillion less on Medicaid. So that's a cut. Instead of allocating $1.2 trillion, instead allocating a $1.2 trillion sum in a block grant program to the states. His budget also would have spent or cut $25 billion to the Social Security program and spent $845 billion less on Medicare by doing some tricky accounting. Now, the budget proposed finding $845 billion in savings over 10 years from Medicare as we know it. $269 billion of that would have been reclassified under the Department of Health and Human Services, which would bring Medicare cuts to about $575 billion. The Committee for Responsible Federal Budget, that is the Peterson Foundation, that's all about basically gutting anything that's public spending that doesn't go to rich people. Oh no, we care about a balanced budget. We care all about making sure to reduce the debt. No, really, and yet, of course, tax cuts for the rich. never seems to be a problem when it comes to debt, which is the main driver of the debt. So we're taking in less income. Anyway, they estimated that 85% of the cuts from Medicare would come from reductions in provider payments. So you'd be paying providers a lot less who accept Medicare, which would have the effect of reducing places that would accept Medicare payments, which would reduce the amount of places where people on Medicare could go and push for privatization. That's the ultimate goal, remember? Ultimate goal. Now, 5% the cuts would come from policies around medical malpractice, and the rest would come from reducing drug costs through the Medicare Part D program. That's the prescription drug program. The Medicaid budget cuts would have amounted to about $1.5 trillion over 10 years, but looked in the context of the block grant program, as well as work requirements that are being added into it, and the cuts in the Affordable Care Act that have been pushed by Republicans, the cuts rounded out to about $777 billion, leaving millions of people uninsured. Social Security, the budget would have been cut about $25 billion over the next 10 years. $10 billion would have been from the disability program. And so, look, I know the disability program is very, look, Republicans claim that, oh, there's so much fraud in the disability program. Let me tell you. No. There's very few programs that are more stringent than disability. I mean, it's so difficult to prove to the government that you are disabled in order to get payments. It takes years and years of fighting to get disability benefits. The idea that this program is riddled with fraud, it's ridiculous. It's just an absolute lie. But anyway, let's be clear. No matter what any of these Republicans say, they all want to put their dirty little fingers into our money. That's just a fact. So that said, the things that Trump said about DeSantis are true. Those are facts. But the fact is also that they all want to do the same thing. They all want to cut Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. So that said, with the substance out of the way, I want to get into analyzing this ad. Why is it so effective, in my opinion? Well, for one, as I mentioned before, in the substance, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, they're three of the most popular programs in the country by enormous margins. That kind of goes without saying, but I said it anyway. But the other thing is the Puddin thing. Remember, the Daily Beast last month reported that during a private plane trip from Tallahassee to Washington in March of 2019, Ron DeSantis, who is apparently has some pretty messed up eating habits, as explained by former staffers, was eating a chocolate pudding with 3 of his fingers. That is both gross and weird. Sorry, it is. And I could not help get a little uncomfortable watching that video. And see, that reaction, that's what they're going for. They nailed the feeling of disgust. Like, I was kind of grossed out. Watching the dude eat the pudding with his fingers, it's all over his face. Ugh. Dude, did you wash your hands? Please tell me you washed your freaking hands. Please tell me. Blah. And by the way, maybe this is me overanalyzing it, but the way that they're all over his face and all this stuff, it looked like other things. I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there.
They call them dumps, big, massive dumps.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So that's the imagery that is evoked here from this ad. And yeah, it makes you feel it's gross. And something that I've learned from studies is that disgust plays incredibly well with conservative audiences. Getting people to feel disgusted about something. So I think that's brilliant. Again, using the Social Security, Medicare, and all that stuff, because again, super popular, and then adding in like, oh, this guy's also freaking super gross. Like, 2 guys, 1 pudding cup. No. No, we're not doing it. We're not doing it.
Big, massive dumps.
No.
Sexual anarchy.
No.
No.
Anyway. The primary season is wild. If Ron DeSantis jumps in, and look, I think it's probably over. It's over. This ad. No, over. But if it isn't, the rest of the ads are probably going to be amazing. To which I say, let him fight. Let him fight.
Can't let that happen.
I don't like this story. I know.
Don't you ever do that. Don't you ever do that. I tell you, don't do it.
Okay. Let's move on. Let's go to woke beer. Buy anti-woke? Go broke. Literally. Recently, the right wing went into full meltdown over Bud Light. So Bud Light partnered with a transgender influencer named Dylan Mulvaney. I never heard of her before. Now, apparently, she lives rent-free in conservative heads. Hilarious. Funny. Look, it's gotten so ridiculous. All these weird conservative backlashes are so incredibly ridiculous because now you've got videos of people that are like doing these weird virtue signals as like, I'm pouring out my Bud Light. This Bud's not for you. It's going down the drain. You already paid for it. Like, they still got your money. And besides, they actually don't give a damn because when it comes down to it, it's about appealing to bigger audiences. And apparently you are a tiny slice of clientele. And let's be honest, you're just not important to them. But anyway, yeah, this multinational corporation doesn't give a damn if Kid Rock wastes his own money on bullets and 12 packs of Bud Light and shoots. And by the way, on Kid Rock, there's a video, or I'm sorry, not a video, but there's photos floating around of a younger Kid Rock drinking Bud Light with a drag queen. Okay, buddy. All right, sure. So, okay. Now, in the midst of all of this nonsense, and that's what it is, there's some crafty entrepreneurs, if you want to call them that have decided to take advantage of the situation, or at least take advantage of idiot chuds by selling anti-woke beer. I want to show you an ad for one such beverage, if you want to call it that. Here it is.
America's been drinking beer from a company that doesn't even know which restroom to use. That's why I created Conservative Dad's Ultra Right 100% woke-free beer. As conservatives, we're constantly getting hit in the face, left and right, by the woke mind virus. But the last place we want it is in our beer. If you know which bathroom to use, you know what beer you should be drinking. Stop giving money to woke corporations that hate our values. And to the rest of you woke corporations, stay the away from our kids.
All right. You want to talk about woke mind virus? It's literally infected all your brains. I mean, yeah, it's infected conservative brains so much that they don't know what woke is, for one. They can't none of them can actually agree on what woke means other than I hate current thing. And then they go crazy over nonsense. It's ridiculous, but also super hilarious. And of course, the grifters coming in is even more funny. I mean, woke corporations who don't share our values. Bro, try being a leftist for once. Ain't no corporation share our values. I mean, again, all these companies, woke corporations, they don't share our values. Literally, a lot of these corporations that you consider to be woke are the same ones that will do child labor for cocoa, for chocolate. They'll donate to anti-gay politicians while, again, claiming to be, supporting pride and all that stuff. This rainbow capitalism, corporate, washing, whatever, they don't share our values. It's almost like these conservatives, they just figured out, had a little tasty taste of what it is to be a leftist and not have a corporation share their values, because for their entire lives, that's all corporations did, is suck up to those people. So welcome to the fold, dudes. Welcome. But they don't get it. They never will. But now, here's the more hilarious part. Again, is your beer too woke? They don't even know what bathroom to use. But don't worry. For the high price of $20 for a 6-pack, you can stick it to the what?
Woke mob.
That's right. By getting our conservative beer. Not kidding. That doesn't even include the shipping price, which, well, I mean, you can't find it in the stores. They can't legally sell product in the stores. So it has to be shipped. So it's like $35 for a 6-pack. Oh, that by the way is the price comes out to more than 4 times the price of a Bud Light. Congratulations, you have played yourself. Wow. Now, some of the prospective buyers, and by the way, the guy in the ad, he claims, oh yeah, we've got thousands of orders. So many orders. And look, I'm not surprised. There's thousands of dumb people in this country, so I wouldn't be surprised, buying their virtue signal beer. But some people on social media were like, hey man, this is a bit expensive, and I'd love to support you in your anti-woke beer. But I can't afford it. You know what's funny though? The same people that are, that this is marketed towards, they're the same people who would tell millennials to stop buying, what is it? Lattes and avocado toast. You can't afford, so why are you bitching about, housing prices? Yeah, I'm just going to stop buying avocado toast. Stop drinking your lattes. Oh, anti-woke beer. Here's all of our money for a 6-pack. $35. Here you go. Spending my money to own the lids. I have to do it.
Stupid.
Oh my God. And by the way, millennials rightly pointed out how unaffordable housing is in this country, and that no matter how many lattes you skip out and how much avocado toast that you do not eat, you still do not have a very good chance of being able to afford a home. But again, $35 virtue signal beer for conservatives. Apparently they can do that. And by the way, it doesn't own libs. Libs are laughing at you. We're all laughing at you. Everyone's laughing at you. This guy's laughing at you because you're paying $20 plus shipping for a 6-pack. This is an obvious scam. They think you're so stupid. And by the way, you are proving them right. You keep proving them correct. You pay $35 for a 6-pack of beer that has a lower alcohol content than a can of Bud Light.
Stupid. Stupid.
You idiot.
All right. Good for you, I guess. Sucker born every minute. Now, here's if you didn't think that was funny enough, there's one more piece that I want to share with you, and that is potential legal issues. According to Newsweek, Anheuser-Busch, which again owns Bud Light and a lot of other beers, including some of the ones that Dan Crenshaw had in his refrigerator when he said, "Oh, I got rid of all my woke beer." And then he opened up his mini fridge, and there's a bunch of, I kid you not, beers owned by Anheuser-Busch that would be considered to be woke beer. Oops. Not very smart. They're not the smartest people, not the best people. But the legal issues. Anheuser-Busch owns another brand containing the word Ultra. Ultra. In its name. That would be Michelob Ultra. That could create a potential legal issue. Now, look, Seth Weather, who's the guy in the ad who's doing this, he actually used to be a former director for Trump's 2016 campaign in Georgia, so he knows all about, grifting people. Could be in potential legal problems, but most likely probably not. And in fact, this is according to Jessica Littman, law professor at the University of Michigan. She told Newsweek that while Anheuser-Busch could potentially make a copyright claim, it is unlikely, and mainly to avoid giving Weathers more publicity. Yeah, we don't actually want to promote you. Like, we know how these conservatives are. We blow up your name, and then more idiots are going to buy your beer. Nah. Now, Littman said, quote, "I don't know how serious Mr. Weathers is about his beer," and pointed out that he does not appear to have applied to register either Ultra Right or American Dad's Ultra Right 100% woke free for any product. So he doesn't even have a trademark. I'm okay. I think it's an absolute total grift, which is again targeting some of the most sensitive and easily duped people on the planet. I mean, it's a target-rich environment. And hey, free market. Okay, well, there it is. Don't be surprised if this scam, if the people that paid this money never get their beer, and if they do, that it tastes like crap, piss water. Well done. Well done. But hey, own the libs. I doubt the company will last long given the price. True. Is it FDA approved? It's not even approved for sale in the stores. It's a white label beer that is probably sitting in the same warehouse as the unsold Trump water. If they do get it, I bet it tastes like ass. So, just like Budweiser. Hey, true. I'm no lies detected there. But again, Budweiser, Bud Light specifically, that's a party beer. And that's basically shotgun it. And that's it. Okay. Let's go to the Missouri story. Skunky Taste tells you that you're owning the libs. True. A Missouri Republican has doubled down on his support for child marriage. So now on Tuesday, State Senator Mike Moon had introduced a bill that would ban gender-affirming care for transgender children in the state of Missouri. Now, during this debate, Democratic State Representative Peter Meredith had grilled Moon about a previous vote that he had taken, which, again, he had voted against banning children as young as 12 years old from getting married. Here is that exchange.
I've heard you talk about parents' rights to raise their kids how they want. In fact, I just double checked. You voted no on making it illegal for kids to be married to adults at the age of 12 if their parents consented to it. You said actually that should be the law because it's the parents' right and the kids' right to decide what's best for them to be raped by an adult. Okay?
Do you know any kids who have been
With
married
marriage.
at age 12?
That was the law.
do you know
You
any
voted
kids-
not to change it.
Do you know any kids who have been married at age 12?
I don't need to.
I do.
He does. He does. And that wasn't reported? Weird. Now, look, his the bill, by the way, that Meredith was referring to is SB 655, which was passed all the way back in 2018. And what that did is that it just raised the marriage age and set it to 16. I think that's too young. Honestly, I think it should be 18. Okay. But, you know, apparently Moon disagreed and he thought, no. 12 year totally fine. So now after this, his statements got some backlash, understandably, because we're talking about child marriage. Child marriage. Okay. Which is incredibly messed up. And of course, you just have to juxtapose this versus the fact that he believes that transgender kids are not old not old enough to get gender affirming health care and be able to socially transition, but thinks that they're totally fine to get married and have babies. Again, you're old enough to get married, but you're definitely not old enough to know your gender identity or be able to learn about the existence of LGBTQIA+ people. That doesn't make any sense at all. So again, lots of backlash here, rightfully so. Now Moon made a response to it, and of course, dug in deeper.
In this video, an opponent to the bill stated that I voted against legislation that would prohibit a 12-year-old from marrying an adult. He went on to say that I supported adult child rape. This statement is misleading at best. Let me set the record straight. As I contemplated the bill, I was reminded of a couple I'd met years before. When this couple was in their teens, actually preteens, they took actions that resulted in the girl becoming pregnant. The youngsters' parents decided to allow the children to marry. They weren't forced. However, because they were not mature and could not provide for themselves, they grew up with their families in different states. After a number of years, when the children became adults and were able to care for themselves, they began to live together. The couple is still married today. So with this in mind, and because allowances for these extreme exceptions were not included in the language, I voted against the bill. Tragic circumstances such as these can only be overcome through one avenue: the grace and mercy of God.
Jesus. Wow. Okay. So let's get this straight. He takes an edge case where two children, and they were children, had a child and were forced to raise that child. And look, I know the culture, okay? There's about 100% chance that these children were pressured into getting married. Let's be real about this, Okay. There's no way that 12-year-old kids are going to be, let's get married and raise a baby. No. No, not at all. I don't believe it. There's tons and tons of religious pressure. Oh, you have to get married. 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 Or else it's sinful, is what it is. It's sinful. You can't be sinful. You're going to go to hell if you don't. You better get married. We know. And so, because of this Edge case, which is, again, super, super effed up, this guy says, well, obviously we can't vote to ban child marriage. No, we have to legalize it. We have to make sure that children can get married just to protect those particular people. Because tragic circumstances like this can be overcome by the Lord. But this guy, again, banned gender-affirming care. The thing that is proven to save transgender children's lives. Research has shown that gender-affirming care improves the mental health and overall well-being of gender-diverse children and adolescents, and has been proven and shown to increase positive outcomes. So why do these kids, using Moon's example, even though I know it's BS, I don't believe it at all, right? Why did they deserve to have, I guess, a law that protects them, or I should say their parents, making the decision to marry them off and force them to raise a child, but will not allow parents and the child to be able to have gender-affirming care? That doesn't make any sense. Again, we're not even talking about surgeries. We're talking about allowing them to socially transition. That's gender-affirming care when they're minors, when they're small children, and then later on when they're basically allowing them to take puberty blockers if they and their parents decide that they're going to go down that route. Again, puberty blockers are reversible, and hormones mostly reversible. Okay, surgeries, again, used in adulthood. And so this argument that, you're mutilating children by allowing them to have gender affirming care, it's all BS. So, but he's against that, things that will save trans kids' lives, but totally fine with forcing a 12-year-old to bear a pregnancy. Now, look, I've gone into the details before about the changes that women and birthing people go through when they're pregnant. A 25-year-old woman, birthing person of the same age as well, they end up going through massive physical, hormonal, and psychological changes due to that pregnancy. It destroys your body. You're going to force that on a 12-year-old? It's monstrous. Monstrous. No, it's ridiculous. And then on top of that, then have the 12-year-olds get married? And they think this is some sort of moral stance that you're taking. You take the moral stance with child marriage. No, it's monstrous. No, Mike Moon's clarification, so-called clarification, that ain't much better. In fact, it's disastrous. And it's a double down of basically him supporting children getting married, which should not happen. Full stop. Okay. They think it's a mark of failed parenting if your kids don't grow up straight and baby breeders. Does that mean that they will allow their 12-year-old old children to get pregnant? Child marriage is child abuse. Yeah. It's messed up. It's totally effed up. Okay. And yet I'm seeing people defend it. So, I mean, says something, doesn't it? Okay. I was disgusted by a woman excited she was going to be a great-grandmother from her 11-year-old grandchild. Oh my God. Oh. What is wrong with people? Okay. Anyway, let's move on. More details have come out about Justice Clarence Thomas's gifts that he received from the Republican billionaire megadonor Harlan Crow. On Thursday, ProPublica dropped a new report that in addition to the lavish vacations that Crow had funded for Thomas and his wife, Ginny Thomas, the justice had sold 3 personal properties to the Republican billionaire, of course, without disclosing it. One of those homes actually belonged to Thomas's mother, Leola Williams. Okay. Now, this is according to, again, this report. Crow purchased the Williams home in 2014, along with 2 nearby vacant lots in Savannah, Georgia. All 3 properties were co-owned by Thomas Williams and the family of Thomas's late brother. Crow paid a total of $133,363 for the properties. So, I mean, that's a lot of money. Keeping it real. And if you're asking, okay, but what's weird about this? There's a few things that are weird about it. But let me just point out the fact that it's actually substantially higher than Thomas's own valuations of this home. So now, let me just go into how, ironically, this intersects with redlining and racism, Jim Crow, the after effects of that, which let me explain, okay? So we know, unfortunately, that homes owned by African Americans or that are located in black neighborhoods, the values come back less. There's racial bias in this. Obviously, implicit bias, racism, this long history, the fact that there's so many appraisers and appraisal companies that are, again, white. I think it was like 95 to 97% of, appraisers are white. Okay. And so there is that racist legacy, right? And by the way, I remember doing a story from a couple of years ago where appraisers went in and, this beautiful home, nice area, wonderful stuff. But the owners are black. So the appraiser comes in and massively lowballs the value of the home. Now, how did they find out that it was lowballed? Well, it turns out this couple, this family, they're like, whoa, this appraisal cannot be right. So they went and they asked their white neighbors, hey, can you pretend that you own the home for this appraiser? We want to see something. We want to figure something out because we think we got massively shortchanged here. And so the neighbor came in. The couple, the family had removed anything that could make it, look like this home was owned by a black family. And the appraiser came in, and lo and behold, appraisal came back pretty high, much higher than the appraisal before. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? There's some racism here. There's some bias in here. In fact, look, according to a 2021 study by Freddie Mac, Black and Latino homeowners are about twice as likely as white families in order when it comes to getting low appraisals for their homes. And so that's a real issue. So interestingly enough, and you can see like I'm connecting the dots here. What made this stand out to me is the fact that Crow had paid so much more money on these properties than they were valued at. So let me give you the details on that. On a 2009 financial disclosure form, Thomas said his 1/3 stake in the 3 properties amounted to $15,000 or less. Again, all 3 of the properties, $133,000. That's how much they were paid. Now, once Crow assumed ownership, he paid for $36,000 worth of improvements to Williams' home itself, including a carport, a roof repair, a new fence, and gates. So add that $36,000 to the $133,000. That's a very, very significant chunk of money that really stands out. We know the homes weren't worth that much. Again, due to obviously the repairs that they had to put into it, but also the fact that there is structural racism involved, which automatically devalues the homes. And unfairly, by the way. And so this looks like money laundering to me. Again, first thing I thought of is, oh, this is money laundering. And look, one of the reasons I say that is because Crow's a real estate guy. What's real estate famous for? Money laundering. Overpaying people for values that are not, that are not worth all of the money that they paid for in order to pay people off. We know that's what this is about. Or at least you can make a very, very, very good case. Very good case about this. Now, in response to ProPublica's new reporting, Crow said, "Oh, no. I just wanted to buy it from the Thomases to preserve it for posterity. But you also made $36,000 worth of improvements. You added a carport. That's not preserving it for posterity. You literally built onto it. And yes, repaired it as well, but you built onto it. So that's not preservation. That's upgrades, sir." He says, "Oh, no. I want to turn it into a museum dedicated to the Justice Thomas, my good friend, Justice Clarence Thomas." Wow. Now, the other thing that was interesting about this is, wait, what happened to Leola Williams? Does she still live there? Good question. Now, ProPublica reporters said that, yeah, we are certain that Thomas's mother lived in the house at least through 2020. Now, her public records and social media and neighbors say, oh yeah, she still lives there. So now she's living in a house owned by Harlan Crow. Now, Slate reporter Sharon Ali also confirms that she lives there. So now, again, she's living in a home owned by the billionaire Harlan Crow. That's super weird. Very, very weird. Again, money laundering. That's what it sounds like. And then again, add in the fact that he fixed up the place and let Williams live there. Is it just money laundering? Is it a bribe? Is it a combination? I'm not entirely sure, but there's a lot of sus stuff going on here. All right. It's pretty bizarre. And just add that to the fact that this guy's been dropping money all over the place to Thomas and his family, his wife, his mom. Oh, yeah, well, maybe he's just super generous, Okay, but even if that's the case, Thomas is a Supreme Court justice, and Crow is a billionaire with ties to massive conservative organizations. And not only that, but he has his own financial interests that could be impacted by cases not brought by him, because that would be a very, very direct conflict of interest, obviously, and there would be massive calls for Thomas to recuse himself. But there are connections to these groups who have filed amicus briefs to go in front of the Supreme Court. Huge conflicts of interest. Okay? So, look, if the intention is to influence him, that would be very, very obvious. And even if it isn't, You don't think that Thomas would be influenced by this? Honestly? Like, literally, your mom lives in a house owned by Crow. I couldn't imagine not feeling influenced by this. And again, it's super, super dubious because guess what? Just like everything else, Clarence Thomas did not disclose this when he was supposed to. Look, it's a violation of federal disclosure laws. That's very obvious. Several experts told ProPublica that it's a violation. Justices and other public officials must disclose real estate sales over $1,000. But just like his other so-called gifts, they were kept secret because, of course, they were, and it implies that Thomas knew that this would have a negative effect on his opinion and the opinion of the court. Thomas, look, in my opinion, Thomas has absolutely no desire to even be 1%, interested in ethical behavior. No, he's the most corrupt justice I've ever seen. Again, has refused to recuse himself in so many different cases that even have personal involvement for him, like the release of transcripts involving his wife, Jenny Thomas, and January 6th. I think he's massively personally corrupt and doesn't give a damn. Because as of now, no one has ever held him accountable. And I don't know if anyone ever will. So, guy probably thinks, why? I'm untouchable. No one's going to come after me. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Sad day for you. That's why he's got to go. Jeez. Oh. Oh boy. All right, one more story here. I'm going to try to make it quick. Digger rights activists are continuing to sound the alarm about the Restrict Act. So now it's officially, they're restricting the Emergence of Security Threats and Risk Information and Communications Technology Act. But most people know it as the TikTok ban. But of course, as I mentioned before, they'll do more than just ban TikTok. It actually gives the presidency, the executive branch, and Congress way too much power. Way too much power. So now Congress argues that this is going to, we just need to protect, American citizens from the evil foreign adversaries. The Chinese Communist Party. We got to protect them against that. We got to protect people against, Iran. We got to protect people against the,
Pink-haired communists.
We just got to protect everybody from the evil others. And we're just going to, take away your rights in order to do so. But that's okay, because you need protection, right? No. Advocates and experts have argued that the act would do very little to protect U.S. citizens from surveillance. I mean, already our government spies on us all the time. And you have entities like Meta, for example, Facebook, that are giving our personal information to police, especially in states where they have banned abortion. They're giving personal data and information for people who might be seeking an abortion to, again, governments and states where they have outlawed abortion. So it's pretty messed up. Definitely messed up. So now, it also, this Restrict Act would give unchecked power to the president, no matter what party they're from, to ban basically any technology or program that he or she wants. So if you're not worried about this under, for example, the Biden, well, think about it. What would happen if someone like Donald Trump were to win in 2024. Or think about the opposite, right? You're a conservative and you like True Social, and yeah, I don't want big tech government censorship coming in and banning conservative speech. Well, guess what? I don't either. I don't want big tech government censorship coming for conservative speech or for progressive speech. I don't want any of that. And so that's why the Restrict Act is an absolute disaster. And so, look, personally, if I wouldn't want the government using this power to shut down True Social. It would be much better and more hilarious, by the way, if True Social were to fail on its own merits, because it's a trash fire. But anyway, you get my point. So now, you also, under the Restrict Act, could have access to other apps and tech products be restricted, and even worse, this could be used to prosecute individual users, people that use VPNs, for example. Could also be used to ban Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, or again, all these other programs. And again, without any sort of oversight. So yeah, you have TikTok today by the Biden administration. Trump wins, DeSantis wins. Imagine that. Suddenly they're banning, I guess, any platform that is considered to be on the left. Oh, political speech that I don't like. Let's get rid of it. That's what they say. And so, look, this kind of power would be given to the President of the United States and the Department of Commerce. And I think it's way, way, way too much power, especially for people who have no idea what they're doing. They really don't understand the technology. And that's why this is so incredibly dangerous. It's so incredibly vague, and they don't understand the negative, chilling impacts this is going to have on civil liberties and freedom of expression. In fact, the Electronic Frontier Foundation has warned again that Americans could be personally punished, prison time, for using VPNs to get around these bans. They would also have authority to impose mitigation measures without any limitation on what those measures would entail. Also, the Commerce Department would be given authority to go after citizens with criminal penalties, again, for using these mitigation measures. And again, would also allow the Commerce Secretary to demand information from any party to a transaction or holding under review or investigation, which includes user data from companies designated under the bill. So now that actually, funny enough, we're talking about TikTok, we're talking about China. This is literally lifted from Chinese legislation. It's very similar to the data security law used in the People's Republic of China, which is a law that requires all tech companies in China to hand over whatever data they have if and when the Chinese government asks for it. Now, it's pointed out that, but we're not as bad as China because there's some confidentiality requirements. But the EFF points out that there could be circumstances where this data could be shared with other government entities. So this is a disaster. It also would allow the Commerce Secretary to review and prohibit certain transactions between individuals in the U.S. and other so-called foreign adversaries. Currently, it's China, Cuba, Iran, North Korea, Russia, and of course, hold.
In Venezuela.
But it could be broadened to include anybody that the administration doesn't like. So it really is incredibly vague. The Commerce Secretary would also be permitted to take measures to identify, deter, disrupt, prevent, prohibit, investigate, or mitigate risks from foreign companies. But again, super, super vague. They could ban these companies from operating in the United States without the public knowing. the basis for any such ban. So think about it this way. Even companies that primarily, operate or are based in the United States, they don't like a foreign competitor. So they think, well, our business interests, that could be impacted. And then, well, could lobby the Commerce Secretary, lobby Congress, get their influence through their lobbyists, through their money, their political donations, in order to get the Commerce Secretary to come up with some BS reason. Oh, it harms the U.S. national interests. It's a security risk. Shut it down. Even if it actually isn't a security risk, and we would never know because they're not required to disclose any reason. It's disastrous. An incredible power grab. And with very, very little oversight. And so, again, this bill, sound the alarm. It's a disaster. It's worse than the Patriot Act. It's the modern version of it. And we got to continue to fight against it. If you care about civil liberties, if you care about freedom of information, freedom of speech, all that stuff, then you'll help fight against this massive, massive power grab, overreaching power grab. Okay. That's why all tech experts are against it as well. It's just an absolute disaster. Okay. All right. Let's read some super chats here to end the show and the week. Is there anything that we are not fighting against? Kuro, that's a good question. It seems like we're always on the defensive, always on the back foot, almost. And then it doesn't help when we're all fighting each other too. So, yeah, disastrous. That is the state of the left in the United States. Okay. So go to our super chat section here on YouTube. Koros, thank you for the very kind $5. Far Out Friday fundraiser fair. I'm not going to save that. Say that 5 times fast. Nope.
No.
Because, you're going to find out that I do not have the best words.
I know words. I have the best words.
Best words. Greatest words. Jonathan Leiter says, in honor of Costanza's individual Puddin skins. Yes! Why am I thinking of George Costanza? Please tell me I'm wrong. Please tell me I'm wrong. Okay. Elwell, with the very, very generous $50. Owning the libs is getting pricey. But you know what? Keep spending money. Eventually, we're gonna be owned. Eventually, yes. So, keep at it. Keep at it. Well, wait. I got a message. From Mr. Weathers.
I'm not worth your McDonald's money.
See, you got to prove them that you're worth your McDonald's money. Oh God. Okay. Jeb James, with a very interesting comment, and thank you for being a member. Imagine telling these beer guys that beer is vegan. Oh my God, yes. There's no animal in your beer. Watch. Some conservatives gonna be like, our beer is made with 100% pork. It's just literal. And by the way, it just would be somebody pouring literal bacon grease into a can. It could happen. Okay. And then finally, Jonathan Leiter says, I still believe in Anita Hill. I believe in Anita. Yes! Bud Light is fists. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not gonna sit there and defend Bud Light. I'm just saying it's hilarious, the meltdown that they're having. It's so good. Well, of course, while they're melting down over this, you have people that are losing reproductive rights every single day. But okay. Let's go to our Twitch community here. Aurora Sarah Beth, thank you for resubbing for a month at tier 1 for 5 months. Happy to be here, even though I missed most of the stream. Well, again, you can check out the videos that I'll be posting throughout the day on our YouTube and Facebook page. I'm pretty sure it's been done, bacon, grease, and beer. Yeah, I guess I wouldn't be surprised. And then Occam's Taser, thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub. Appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot. All right, everybody. That's all I've got for you all today. Thank you for going around the nation. Please, again, like and share the stream. Always appreciative of you doing so. Have a great weekend. Love you all. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. Yeah, we'll see you when we see you.
There's some whores in this house. Wet ass B-word.
Peachtree dish.
They want to make me drink Starbucks every day from now until forever.
Disappointed! It's not a salami sandwich.
There's no ice cream in hell. You're kicking me out the door. You're kicking me out the door.
USA, USA, USA.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.